So, namaste everyone. I'm Samir. I'm from the United States, and those of you who've met me before know I'm the resident class clown of the World Hindu Congress. There's this dialogue. There's this dialogue that seems to be pervasive everywhere we go. And it's this conversation about leadership, about building leaders for tomorrow. There are these executive coaches that make huge sums of money coaching business people about how to lead more effectively, how to be more charismatic, and how to perfect their craft. Leadership workshops run in the hundreds of thousands in terms of numbers, and their price tags reflect just how voluminous those numbers are. The dialogue about forming leaders is so entrenched in our society and our mindset that we don't even realize how in your face it really is. But let's pause here. What is a leader? Just in your heads, answer that question. The vague definition that's running through your head right now about what a leader is almost assuredly differs from the picture in the mind of your neighbor. That's because leader has become this amorphous mythical word. It's simply something to aspire to, a thing we do because it looks good on a resume or a college application. Most of us, in truth, and I hate to say it, are not fit to lead, nor would we want to if thrust into that position. And I don't mean us, I mean the general us in the world. Yet we all shell out and line up to become the leaders of tomorrow. For us, sitting in this room, it's because we should be. We are being called and driven to that. It's in our bones, in our blood, in our very core to lead. And there is no group that's more apt or more poised to lead us. So let's go back. What is a leader? Simply put, it's someone who can sway a crowd. Someone who can find a goal and with pinpoint accuracy and focus, drive the herd and the masses to that destination and that goal with blazing accuracy and efficiency. Even Hitler was a great leader. He was a massive turd, but he was a great leader. Right? But we don't want to be leaders like that. Right? Like I said, our penchant for this is in our blood. It's in our tradition. Our tradition laid the foundation for everything we live in today. But it's not about living in the past, right? We're not here in Delhi. We're not here to simply ruminate on the greatness of the rishis and reminisce about the India that was. The past is important. Knowing who we are and where we're from and what legacy is ours has more importance than any of us probably realize. Let's not dwell on the past, though. Instead, let us use and harness that past, that platform, and that foundation that the giants and titans from whom we trace our lineage, our Hindu lineage, lay for us for a springboard to propel us further than our wildest dreams could ever take us. Now let's look at 300 BC and the Arthashastra. Now compare that to its Western counterpart and equivalent, Machiavelli's The Prince, which didn't appear until the early 16th century AD. That's nearly 2,000 years in which Hindus were running circles around the world politically. Or even its earlier predecessor, the Manusmriti, the relevance of which is still touted today. Now, there's a dearth of Hindus in leadership roles. And again, I want to pause for a moment here and distinguish Hindu leadership and Indian leadership. Right? There are certainly many Indian leaders, many Indian titans of business. Right? Indra Nui, Harish Manwani, Nikesh Arora, Lakshmi Mittal, Ambani, Tata, Satya Nadella. These are all titans of industry, leaders, and movers in the business world. Yet, while they're all Indian, they're not necessarily Hindu. Right? Arguably, many of these titans, for instance, Vikram Pandit, is extremely un-Hindu. If you guys don't know who Vikram Pandit is, Google him, you'll see just how un-Hindu he is. But why do we want Hindus in the collective societal leadership? We all want that, right? It's a goal we're attempting to achieve. It's why we're all here right now. It's something we're all saying is a good thing, but why? Is it to elevate the status of Hindus in the collective consciousness? To advance the Hindu cause through leaders that will favor their own? Maybe to ensure that Hindus have a voice to shape the future for coming generations, or to make sure that Hindu thought find its way into society at large. Maybe a combination. Maybe it's all of them. I don't have an answer. Other than to say, we need to occupy these roles so that what we heard in the last session, that the plight of the Hindus in Indonesia, in Bangladesh, the Yazidis, the plight that they face today will never again happen, right? So that talentless hacks like Iggy Azalea would never dare to dress up as Lakshmi on her album cover. So how do we accomplish this? In order to grab society by its horns and have them take notice of us, and have them realize that the economics and politics they champion today are rooted in thousands of years of tradition from us, we need to position ourselves such that we cannot be ignored. If we believe that Hindus are the right group and are the ones to poise to lead society in the future, then we need to do things like serve in the military. We need to run for elected office. We need to shun the idea that professions like teaching are somehow baser because the pay is less. How ironic that in the dawn of the day, we can teach our children to worship Saraswati, that knowledge is ultimate, that the Guru is the root. Yet at dusk, during twilight, we forbid them from becoming those very gurus and those teachers. Because it's not respectable. Right? You don't understand. See, the gurus we talk about, this is our parents, right? The gurus we talk about, they're not like the teachers today. See, just go study more. You'll understand one day. You just don't know enough now. Our love affair with hoarding money needs to cease, and we need to realize that talking out of both sides of our mouth is not going to get us anywhere. No society can be built of only IT professionals, doctors, and finance managers, or lawyers, especially not lawyers. We need to become complete people who are not afraid to stand up and say, the army life, that's for me. Yet to do this, we need to be confident in who we are. Too many times have we seen, at least in the United States, Hindus reaching the cusp of political greatness or business authority, and they're lambasted for their ties to, quote, radical Hinduism, or simply questioned for being Hindu. Archit brought up Nikki Haley, and I'll talk about it in a second, but almost inevitably, the response to these is to cower and bow, to renounce Hinduism simply to advance their political future. Nikki Haley, a Sardarni by birth, a Christian convert, now the governor of South Carolina. Or Bobby Jindal, the Southern Baptist born a Hindu, so staunchly Christian, he makes the Pope look like a Buddhist. And then there's Tulsi Gabbard, a half Samoan born in Hawaii, an Iraq war vet who used to sleep with a copy of the Gita on her bunk, who used to read it for inspiration when she needed a staying hand to get her through the trials of war. A congresswoman who not only did not cower when pushed about her Hindu faith, but who stood up and proudly took the oath of the United States Congress office on a copy of the Gita. These are the leaders we need. Now, our Hindu organizations are poised, and they're the most apt to nurture and develop these leaders. Why don't our temples have leadership programs? One that don't need to manufacture this fake link to Hinduism. One that builds the leader, makes them confident, so that intrinsic shine, that intrinsic link to the Hindu leaders shines through no matter what. Develop the skills, give the tools, give the confidence. Watch that Hindu pride, that Hindu roar ring loud. Now, I can only speak about my experiences in America. Now, the American culture is such that it literally waters down your desire to retain your own culture, values, and traditions. The overwhelming desire to conform does exist, but the intrinsic urge to navigate who you are and your identity cannot be silenced. Nurture that identity. Emblazon it on your heart and your sleeve, and seek out roles in government, in business, in the arts. Hindus were the greatest entrepreneurs, scientists, politicians, and thinkers the world has ever seen. Why have we shrunk and fallen so far? Let's reclaim that past and launch the new resurgence as the leaders in every facet of society. Like the phoenix, we should rise once again and reclaim our place as leaders and pioneers of society. But we cannot and will not be able to do this. We will not be able to show the greatness that is Hindu thought in Hindu society unless we ourselves first appreciate and learn where we come from, where we are, who we are, and live that identity through thoroughly and as our own.